there, beautiful people. Brand new day, brand new week. Let us start it right with the perfect mix of news and conversations, whether you're watching us on TV, online, or listening on the radio. I'm Asis-Carilo. We are simulcast on Mellow 94.7 BFM. Here's your daily dose of deep dives and good vibes. Welcome to Beautiful Day. I'm so sorry, my voice is missing in action. Just like Paolo del Rosario, my partner. He's on his way, don't worry. He always likes making a grand entrance. And as for my voice, so sorry guys, please bear with me. I'm still recovering from, I got sick over the weekend. I was absent Saturday for Agenda Weekend, but I was able to make it last night and I'm here, but my voice isn't. So I hope you can bear with me for the next hour and a half. But anyway, do join us because we got a great show for you guys. Agosto ay buwan ng Wika, right? So we'll be joined by Benjamin Mendillo later on for the hangout. He's the Komisyoner ng Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino. I love this segment because we're going to be talking about how we should value our language, and mamaya magtatagalog po tayo. So I love that segment. That's happening later on. For Weather HQ with Paolo del Rosario, of course, we will be joined by Mr. June Palafox, Principal Architect and Urban Planner here in the Philippines. And we got something special cooking for you guys for What's Cooking later on with Filipino food advocate Raine Cabral. She's going to be joining us on the show once again. And you can watch us online on YouTube and on Facebook. You can join us by sending in your messages, your shout-outs, your questions for our guests later on. And your messages for me, tips on how to recover my voice na nawawala. I know sa labat, I've been having that all throughout the weekend, and I have been skipping on the sugar and the cold drinks. So if you have more tips, send it my way, please. Much appreciated on YouTube and on Facebook. And we are also on the Facebook page of Mellow 94.7 BFM. So many ways to get in touch with us. Again, do join us for the next hour and a half. Meantime, let's give you some headlines, news that you can use this morning. First up, we check the traffic situation in major roads at this hour. Now, here is what's happening along EDSA Quezon Avenue flyover. On the left side of your screens, you're seeing vehicles heading to Quiapo. We're seeing moderate to heavy traffic already building up on that stretch. Same situation on the opposite lane. Right side, you're seeing vehicles heading to Quezon Memorial Circle. Moderate to heavy traffic on that lane. Now, this time, let's take a look at EDSA White Plains. Left side of your screens, you're seeing vehicles heading to Shaw Boulevard. Moderate to heavy traffic already on that stretch. Opposite lane, light traffic. Those are the vehicles heading to Cubao. Now, heads up to motorists. The expanded vehicle number coding scheme is in full swing. It's a Monday, so vehicles with license plates ending in 1 and 2 should be off the road right about now until 10 a.m. and again from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now, heads up to motorists. Mixed fuel price changes can be expected this week. The price of gasoline may rise up to 50 centavos per liter, while diesel could fall by 70 centavos per liter and kerosene could fall by 1 peso per liter. The Department of Energy says these changes are driven by global factors such as the OPEC supply, lower world demand, and the easing of U.S.-China trade tensions. Now on to our headlines this morning. Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Mendillo has trust issues with Congress. He insists he will not bring the evidence he has on anomalous flood control projects to hearings in the Senate or the House of Representatives. George Cahiles has that report.
The kickbacks may reach as far as a powerful appropriations committee in Congress. That's according to Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Mendillo, who claims to hold evidence showing lawmakers profiting from government flood control projects. The House Committee on Appropriations oversees all government spending, from projects and public debt to salaries and benefits of government employees. It is also where the proposed national budget is first deliberated before reaching the House floor.
Kung pork barrel, yan, sariling-sarili nila yan. Pero kung galing sa taas, ang pondo, may hatian yan. 25% aakyat, babalik sa taas. Nandyan na ngayon yung pass-through o tinatawag o parking fee.
Saan po itong taas sa itong binabanggit nyo? Up to what level?
Well, ang sinasabi nila sa akin, mga APRO, sabi nila sa akin. Bahala na kayo siguro. Kilala nyo naman siguro kung ibig sabihin ng APRO.
APRO, sir, meaning sa mga committee, sa Senado at saka sa Kongreso.
Your guess is as good as mine, George.
Magalong says kickbacks in flood control projects come in many forms, from cornering projects for favored bidders to using dummy firms. Sometimes, relatives or even the lawmakers themselves act as contractors. He adds that overpricing leads to substandard projects because large portions of the budget are lost to corruption.
Hindi naman kasali dun sa program of work yung porsyentong ibibigay nila eh.
Opo.
Kaya ang una kong tanong sa kanila is, kung 30% na lang ang naiiwan, anong gagawin nyo? Sir, isa substandard namin.
Both chambers of Congress will conduct separate inquiries into alleged corruptions in flood control projects. But Magalong says he has not received any invitation to attend the hearings. And if he is called, he will not bring the evidence that links lawmakers to the anomaly. Instead, he plans to turn everything over to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and let the chief executive decide when and how to make it public.
Trust issue yan eh. Sino ba nag-iimbestiga, di ba? Unang-una, pagkakatiwala mo ba kung ikaw George, pagkakatiwala mo ba yung nag-iimbestiga, yung sila mismo yung mga sangkot?
House Public Accounts Committee Chair Terry Redon earlier said they will recuse themselves and allow a third-party probe if any of their members will be implicated in the controversy. George Cahiles, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The controversy on flood control projects remains a hot topic. Former DPWH Secretary Rogelio Singson said on BNC's Agenda Weekend that during his time, there was a simple method to ensure flood control projects materialize. What he calls the 5 R's: right project, right cost, right quality, right on time, and right people. When asked if these were still observed today, he said they've been bastardized by lack of control.
Bastardized? Wala nang kontrol eh. Ang daming district engineer na galing na sa labas. Pag yung district engineer, trinete ng kongresista o LGU, o pag yung tractor ko hindi nanalo, tatanggalin kita. O anong gagawin ng district engineer? Dinikisaw-saw na rin.
News of the anomalous flood control projects has reached former President Rodrigo Duterte in The Hague, Netherlands. FPRRD's daughter, Veronica Kitty Duterte, says she delivered the news during her August 15 visit, to which he simply laughed about it.
Tumawa lang siya. Tinanong, he asked if, was this the problem nung president ako? Sabi ko, hindi. You were a good one. You were an excellent one. So ayun, tumawa lang siya, then he quickly shifted na to the family matters.
They then shifted to family matters, where he asked about his common-law wife, Hanilet Avancenia, who has been barred from visits. The Bureau of Customs has reached out to actress Bella Padilla over a complaint of high import duties. The BOC says the issue will be resolved privately and that it handles all complaints fairly, whether from private individuals or known personalities. Earlier, the actress posted on X that she was charged 4,600 pesos in taxes for an 11,000 peso shipment. In other news, the Commission on Elections says it is ready for the historic Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao parliamentary elections set for October 13, 2025. COMELEC Chair George Erwin Garcia says around 2.3 million voters are expected to participate. He assures the public the polls will push through despite doubts following the postponement of the barangay and SK elections. President Bongbong Marcos earlier moved the BARM elections from May to October to ensure readiness, following a Supreme Court ruling that Sulu is not part of BARM while upholding the Bangsamoro Organic Law. 3 beloved Filipino rice dishes made it to Taste Atlas's list of the top 100 porridges in the world. Ito yata kailangan ko today. Arroz caldo ranked second, praised for its ginger broth and tender chicken. Lugaw took 10th place for its simple, comforting flavor. And champurrado, a sweet cocoa rice porridge, landed at 19th. Topping the list is bubur ayam, Indonesia's chicken congee. Taste Atlas also named chicken inasal as the top Filipino dish last year. Now, in world news, Air Canada flight attendants remained on strike outside the Vancouver International Airport, demanding for fair pay. That's despite a government-backed order to return to work on Sunday. Air Canada flight attendants walked off the job on Saturday for the first time since 1985 after months of negotiation over a new contract. The walkout caused suspension of around 700 flights daily and stranded over 100,000 passengers. The most contentious issue has been the union's demand to be paid for time spent on the ground between flights helping passengers board. Attendants are largely paid only when their plane is moving. The Canadian Industrial Regulations Board is yet to comment on the issue. Now, here is your first cup of tea this morning. Buzzy horror film Weapons kept its grip on the North American box office for a second straight week, pulling $25 million. The Warner Brothers movie stars Julia Garner and Josh Brolin in a story about the mysterious disappearance of school children from the same class. Holding second place was Disney's Freakier Friday with $14.5 million, while Universal's Nobody 2 debuted in third with just over $9 million. Rolling out the top five are Disney's Fantastic Four First Steps and Universal's The Bad Guys 2. Now on to our second cup of tea. American thrash metal titan Megadeth has announced their final album and farewell tour. Despite the news, some fans are more disappointed to see the beloved band using AI-generated video for the announcement. One fan wrote on their Instagram post, and I quote, "A band known for their insane album artwork is now using AI. How far we've fallen." No details yet on the final album or farewell tour, but the band's founder, Dave Mustaine, says that he is glad the band gets to go out on their own terms, and the hardest part is saying goodbye to the fans. Now, our very own Agenda Entertainment host, Monique Tuzon, just proved that anybody can do anything if you believe. After being named Most Empowered Woman of the Year by Best Magazine, the recognition puts her alongside big names like Sheryl Cruz, Aiko Melendez, Chris Bernal, and other fellow journalists. Monique dedicated the award to her BNC family, crediting them for believing in her. She says this is just the beginning of her journey, promising there's still more to come.
Honestly, this is so crazy and it is such an honor. I owe this all to my Bilyonaryo News family, Sir Hill, Sir Spy, Chair, my co-anchors, everybody there, they believed in me. This has been 10 years, more than of hard work, perseverance, and especially lots of faith. I mean, imagine, I'm proof that anybody can do anything if you just believe.
Congratulations to our very own Monique Tuzon, your former friend.
Is she really proof that anything can happen?
Parang gusto kong, kung alam mo, buti na lang ganito yung voice ko today because kundi kakanta ako ng When You Believe ni Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. There can be miracles when you believe.
Alam mo, it's a miracle to be honest that nandito ako ngayon. Hello guys, I'm Paolo.
Oh my God!
I know!
I deserve an award!
You do! So you sound fantastic. This is the best you've ever sounded.
Thank you.
Oo.
I think guys like this, you know, raspy, low voice in the morning.
Ewan.
Ay, teka lang, PG pala tayo.
PG tayo today. But of
PG.
course, congratulations to Mo.
Yes, congrats, Mo!
You know, it's funny because I was talking to her right, I think when she received the award. Siyempre, I congratulated her. And sabi niya na she did not expect it. She was there to cover the event. And then the day when she arrived, she found out she was nominated. And then tinawag siya. So, I mean, like, it's good. I mean, we're really happy for our former friend, Mo. Kasi, you know...
Your former friend. She's still my friend.
Our former friend, Mo. hindi na natin kasama dito eh. So, ganon. I mean, most empowered woman of the year.
Yes.
What do you think that means to mo? Tara, mag-beauty queen answer tayo.
It means anything is possible if you believe. 'Di ba? Pang beauty queen nga yung sinabi niya
Pang-beauty
'di
queen
ba?
nga, oo.
Yeah, everything's possible.
No, she wasn't prepared to answer that, and yet she was. Again,
Ang ama ng answer niya, I feel like she was prepared.
Hindi, feeling ko, alam mo yung type na ini-extend talaga.
Yeah.
Yung pinapahaba talaga yung...
Oo,
So,
parang yung ginagawa ko para lang dumating ka on time.
Of course, pero wala, there was nothing talaga. Ladies and gentlemen, again, just so everyone understands what happened kanina. Grabe.
Ay, sa
grabe.
presinto ka
Oo,
magpaliwanag.
presinto. No, literal, sa harap ng presinto nangyari. Oh my gosh. No, there was just an accident on the road. And there was
Okay.
no way that I could have made it on time. No
Well,
matter how
I'm glad
quickly.
you're here,
Yep.
finally.
And then hopefully everyone involved in that a while ago was okay.
Okay.
Kasi it did cause a lot of delays a while ago. As in, grabe yung movement ko sa ETA. Pero ganun talaga, I know it happens.
Yeah,
And
it
of course,
happens,
It's still
it
not an
happens.
excuse. But still, thank you so much for holding the fort, Anne.
No problem.
As per usual.
You know, our next segment, perfect sana kay Moto if she was still here on
Ay,
the show.
nako.
Yeah.
Because-
Kasi marami siyang matututunan.
Dahil-
Kasi ngayong buwan ng Wika,
Ayun.
sariwain natin ang pinagmulan ng ating wikang pambansa. Bakit nga ba mahalagang taun-taon natin itong ipagdiwang? Makakasama natin si Benjamin Mendillo, Komisyoner ng KWF o Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino sa pagbabalik ng Beautiful Day. At nagbabalik ang Beautiful Day. Ipinagdiriwang natin tuwing Agosto ang buwan ng wika. Pero bakit nga ba taon-taon natin itong binibigyang pugay? At ano ang pinagmulan nito? Kasama natin ngayong araw, napakahalagang panauhin, Commissioner ng KWF o Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino, Benjamin Mendillo. Beautiful day, Sir Benjamin. Sir Ben na lang itatawag namin
Opo,
sa'yo.
opo. Kung magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat at sa inyong mga masugid na taga-subaybay.
Magandang umaga po.
Ang ganda. I love this segment. Okay, so...
Buti lang wala si Mo, no?
Oo. Agosto, buwan ng wika. Pero before we celebrate it as a month, linggo ng wika lang siya, right? So can you tell us, sir, paano ba nagsimula itong pagdiriwang ng una linggo ng wika, tapos naging buwan ng wika?
Ganito yan, Miss Anne, no? Nagsimula yan ng tama ka, linggo ng wika muna yan, noong 1946, na sa pamamagitan ni Presidenteng Sergio Osmeña. Subalit noong panahon naman ni Pangulo Magsaysay, ito ay minove niya mula March 27 to April 2. Ito ay para sa pagtanaw doon sa pagkilala sa kaarawan naman ni Francisco Balagtas. Subalit noong lumaon, noong panahon naman ng 1997, panahon ni Pangulong Ramos, ay ginawa itong buwan ng wikang pambansa. At itinaon yan sa Agosto.
Oo. Opo, tayo lang po ba yung bansang may buwan ng wika?
Marami. Lahat ng mga bansa, karamihan ay kanilang pinagdiriwang ang kanilang mga wika. Halimbawa, sa Amerika, may English language day din sila. Chinese, ganun din. Meron sila at pinagdiriwang nila ito. At ito ay hindi, kumbaga ay extraordinaryong ginagawa sa lahat
Pero
ng
ito
mga
ay
bansa.
parang isang araw lang na celebration for other countries?
Pero
Or
tayo,
month lang?
parang
Tayo
isang
lang
buwan,
ba?
eh.
Isang
Haba na
buwan?
sa atin.
Tama po kayo dyan, Miss Anne, Sir Paolo. Sa atin, mahabaan.
Oo.
Kasi ito ay mahaba kasi yung naging, yung kultura kasi natin masyadong, kumbaga ay natakpan ng iba't ibang mga wika, ano? Kaya kumbaga yung gayon na lamang yung ating dapat na pagdiriwang ganun kahaba para lalong kumintal yung ating pagpapahalaga sa wikang Pilipino o wikang pambansa.
Alam naman natin po na ang dami natin dialekto. Lahat ng mga region natin parang may sarili silang dialect. And kapag buwan ng wika, normally ano po yung sineselebrate po natin? Yung wikang Filipino o pati na rin ba yung mga dialekto ng iba't ibang reyon?
Tama, magandang tanong yan, Sir Paolo, no? Dahil nga ang dialekto ay yan ay mga variasyon ng wika eh, ano? So ang ating pinagbibigyang pugay ngayong buwan ng wikang pambansa ay ang wikang Filipino, ang pambansang wika ng Pilipinas. At syempre kaalinsabay nito ang lahat ng mga katutubong wika sa Pilipinas. Kaya nga ang tema ng ating buwan ng wikang pambansa ay nakapasok diyan yung pagpapahalaga sa lahat ng mga katutubong wika sa Pilipinas sapagkat ito ang nagpapalakas sa wikang Pilipino. Ang wikang Pilipino mismo ang mukha ng lahat ng mga wika sa Pilipinas.
Na-mention mo yung tema, no? And yung tema ngayong taon, paglinang sa Filipino at katutubong wika, makasaysayan sa pagkakaisa ng bansa. Ano ang kahulugan ng team natin this week?
Malinaw sa tema natin na ang Pilipino at mga katutubong wika ay instrumento natin bilang isang bansa sa isang malinaw na diskurso. Ang paggamit ng mga wika natin, hindi lang ang wikang Pilipino, na kumakatawan sa lahat ng mga wika, ito ay maaari nating maging lunsaran sa pagkakaisa ng bansa at pag-unlad ng ating bayan.
Sir Ben, maraming, na-mention ko kanina, maraming dialekto po. At mayroon nagsasabi na yung Tagalog lang talaga yan. Dapat hindi siya Filipino, pero ginawa natin pambansang wika. Ano po yung kasaysayan nito? Bakit naging, base sa Tagalog, ang wikang Filipino?
Sa tingin ko, sasagutin ko sa pamamagitan, Sir Paolo, ng mga saligang batas natin. Noong 1896, dun sa saligang batas noong 1896, yung sa Biak na Bato, sinabi nila dyan ang wikang opisyal na gagamitin ay Tagalog. At nang lumaan noong 1935, sinabi ng Commonwealth Act na bubuo ng isang hakbang upang makabalangkas ng isang wikang pambansa. At noong nakaraan isang taon, pagkaraan ng 1935-1936, nabuo ang surian ng wikang pambansa. At pagkaraan niyan, nakabuo ang surian ng wikang pambansa ng isang wikang pambansa sa pamamagitan ng nakabatay sa mga katutubong wika at natukoy nila ang wikang Tagalog. Ngayon, meron tayong 8 pangunahing wika, yung mga katutubong wika. In fact, meron tayong 135 na wika sa Pilipinas. At ang naging batayan noong 1936 ng surian ng wikang pambansa ay ang Tagalog. Kaya ang Tagalog ang naging batayan dahil sa lawak ng panitikan nito, ang mga nakilala mga bayani ay gumagamit ng Tagalog at ito yung ginagamit na diskurso. Ang sentro ng kapangyarihan ng mga panahon na yun ay nandito sa Maynila at ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas dati ay si Quezon na Tagalog, kaya namayagpag ang Tagalog.
Alam mo, fast forward tayo to today, no, to modern times. Kasi ngayon may social media na eh. So, 'di ba? Mas exposed na yung mga kabataan sa iba't ibang languages and mga reels, 'di ba, na nagtuturo ng mga. Actually ngayon merong TikToks lang ang tinatawag. So yung mga marites, the serve, for the person, yung mga ganyan na parang dito nakikita yung evolution ng wikang Filipino eh. Paano ba nakakaapekto yung social media sa evolution of our language?
Malaking gampanin ng social media sa pagkakaroon ng iba't ibang mga katawagan sa pang-araw-araw na ginagamit ng mga kabataan ngayon. Ang mga bata ngayon, hawak nilang cellphone nila. Humigat magbangon sila, hawak nilang cellphone nila. Kahit saan sila magtungo, hawak ang cellphone nila. So expose sila sa mga uri ng mga media. At nakakaapekto ito. At isang malaking hamon naman sa komisyon ang ganitong mga bagay sapagkat habang nagiging lumalawag ang kanilang bokabularyo sa mga ibang mga wika, natatabunan naman yung wika natin. Yan yung threat, kumbaga, na sa tingin ko nanganganib ang wikang Pilipino sa ganyang mga bagay.
Alam ko na sinabi niyo pong threat po siya. Pero may update po. Naka-update po ba ang wikang Pilipino? Kasi nakita na nga natin, I believe, to Oxford yung yung salitang gigil nasama na po
Yes.
sa dictionary ng Oxford. If I'm not mistaken po, yung Oxford data yon. Yung wikang Filipino po ba, na-update rin po ba?
Meron tayong diksionaryong wikang Pilipino, ano? At yung mga pinapasok nating mga salita diyan ay mga ginagamit nating mga pambansa na mga general terms yan, ano. So yung mga sinabi kanina ni Miss Ann ay mga mga linguistic fad yan. Ano, at malayo pa siguro ang aabutin niyan bago makapasok sa ating general dictionary sapagkat kailangan pa niyan dumaan sa isang normalisasyon, sa isang kodifikasyon at konvensyon bago ito pumasok sa ating general dictionary. Lumilipas din ito eh. Ito yung katangian ng isang wika, yung pagiging dynamico nito.
I was asking, English, sorry. I was asking si Sir Ben kanina sa makeup room na anong masasabi mo ngayon kasi yung mga kabataan, yung mga Gen Z and younger generation, mas sanay silang magsalita ng English kesa sa Tagalog. Speaking from experience kasi yung anak ko and yung mga kaklase niya sa school,
Looking at myself.
hirap sila sa Filipino. And then, okay sila. Nagsa-struggle sila there. And then, okay sila sa English. 'Di ba? Paano ba natin matutulungan yung mga kabataan ngayon to, level up yung skill nila sa pagtatagalog?
Magandang tanong po yan, Miss Ann. Sa palagay ko, ang sagot ko dyan ay dapat magsimula ang kausayan, kasanayan, katatasan sa wikang Filipino o Tagalog sa bahay. Kailangan ginagamit sa bahay ng mga magulang ang kanilang mga wika sapagkat maikli na lamang ang panahon nila sa eskwelahan. Halimbawa, 1 oras lang ang kanilang asignatura sa Pilipino. Paglabas nila, Ingles na naman ang patakaran pang wika sa kanilang eskwelahan. At ang kanilang medyang hinaharap ay puro Ingles. Wala mga programang naka-Pilipino. Maliban lamang sa mga primetime ng mga balita ay maririnig mo ang Pilipino. So, kakaunti lamang ang panahon. Kaya mas maraming dapat kapag uwi nila ng bahay at pagpasok at paglabas nila, dapat ay ginagamit nila ang Filipino.
Sir Ben, sa panig ng KWF, ano pong ginagawa ng KWF para mai-push talaga ang wikang Filipino? Kasi na-mention nyo nga kanina, napakadaming challenges ng wikang Filipino, especially sa media landscape po natin.
Maraming hamon, ano. At nakakalungkot 'yon sapagkat tayo mismo ang mga Pilipino, tayo ang hindi gumagamit nito. Ano, tayo pa ang iginigiit pa natin ang paggamit ng Filipino. At yan ang isang malaking hamon. Kung tutusin, kung lahat tayo gumagamit ng Filipino at hindi na kailangan pang magbigay ng promosyon sa paggamit ito, bakit pa kailangan ng komisyon? Ano? Itinatag ito para lamang ipakita na dapat gamitin natin ang wikang Pilipino hindi lang sa iba't ibang ahensya at instrumentalidad ng ating pamahalaan, pati sa madla. Dapat ay ginagamit ang Pilipino. Ano bang intervention na ginagawa ng komisyon? Una, dun sa mga nangangarib na wika ay kami ay pumapalaot doon at binibigyan namin tinuturuan namin ang mga elders, naturuan ng kanilang mga nakababatang henerasyon upang masagip at lalo pang gamitin ang kanilang mga wika upang hindi maglaho ito. Sa atin naman dito sa sentro, mahalaga na makadevelop tayo, makabalangkas tayo ng mga programa na magpapalakas sa wikang Pilipino. Dati mayroon pang mga palabas ng pambata. Halimbawa yung Batibot, meron yung dati. Ngayon wala na, puro Thomas and Friends lang. So
That's true
isa
though.
yan, di ba? Kasi language formation yan eh.
Yes.
So kung ang yung pre-linguistic level nila ay natutuhan nila ay English, mahihirapan na sila ulit mag-adapt sa wikang Pilipino.
Kanina na-mention mo, Sir Ben, na kailangan para matutong magtagalog yung bata, magsisimula dapat ito sa bahay. Sa mga magulang na nanonood sa atin ngayong umaga, ano ang advice para sa kanila?
Ibalik ang batibot.
For the parents who are watching.
Unang-una dapat po ay, dahil ang mga mag-aaral natin, meron silang mga asignatura sa Pilipino. Umupo tayo at buksan ang aklat. Tignan natin, ituro natin yung aklat na ito kasamang ating anak. At ating ituro sa kanila ito sa Pilipino at gamitin natin sa praktikal na pamaraan kung paano ginagamit ang Pilipino. Dapat makita rin nila yung katatasan natin sa Pilipino sapagkat doon din magbubunsod yung pagmamahal sa ating wika.
Gusto ko lang po balikan, na-mention niyo po kanina yung mga endangered languages, yung mga wika na nawawala na dahil medyo, I guess, hindi siya ginagamit. Bakit po siya nawawala at anong kailangan natin gawin para i-ensure na nandun pa rin or hindi mawawala yung heritage po natin?
Magandang tanong. Maraming mga salik o factors kung bakit naglalaho yung mga wika. Una, sa pamagitan ng migration. Sapagkat wala na silang makain, wala na silang kabuhayan, o kaya hindi sila naabot ng gobyerno, kailangan nilang lumipat ng lugar. Meron namang salik na pagdating namin doon, magdodokumento, nandun yung mga tao, subalit wala na yung wika. So inadapt naman nila yung isang dominanting wika para makasurvive, para mabuhay sila. Yung pangatlo naman ay napupwersa silang umalis dahil yung kanilang ancestral domain ay sinasakop ng ibang kapitalista.
Ano pong halimbawa ng mga wikang nawawala na po?
Yung Villa Viciosa, Agta, meron tayong mga pamantayan kasi. Yung mga negritos na mga wika, nawawala sila. 6 na sa aming talaan ang nawala, at hindi na sila na-dokumento. Kaya bahagi ng intervention namin ay dinodokumento namin. Gusto naming malaman kung sila ba ay safe, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, severely endangered, extinct. Yan yung mga pamantayan na ginagamit natin para malaman kung ilan pa ba yung mga tagapagsalita nito. Halimbawa, sa isang lugar, ang nagsasalita na lamang ay 10 na mga elders. Kailangan madokumento sila. At ang intervention, kailangan yung mga elders na ito na meron silang dala-dala nilang wika. Kailangan maituro agad nila ito sa nakababatang henerasyon para hindi mawala. Meron dyan 3, 4 na lang na nagsasalita. Minsan 1 na lang. Kailangan idokumento mo siya. Ang hamon ay kailangan ma-dokumento siya at maituro mismo yung talino mismo at karunungan na mayroon ng wikang ito.
I feel like one of the things na nawawala rin sa mga bata.
Filipino.
Because nga, huwag ka magulo, hirap na nga ako magsalita. Pero one of the things na nawawala sa kabataan ngayon, yung pagsabi ng po at opo. Because nga, ma-English na sila eh. Diba? So they're more like first name basis. As nawawala na rin yung parang, although they're respectful, pero yung po
values
at opo,
yan
nawawala
values natin yan. Tama po yan. Nawawala yan sapagkat walang ganyang cultural entity ang Ingles. At yan ay isang uniko, unique yan na katangian natin na kultural. Pati yung pag may dalawang nag-uusap, tapos yuyuko. Diba? Pagdadaan, mga kakaibang mga kultural na halagahan yan, values natin yan. Kaya, kasama kasi sa isang wika ay yung kultura. Kung kulturang Ingles siya, matatangin mo rin yung kulturang yun Kaya kung mas malakas yung kulturang ina-adapt mo, yun ang mismong makukuha mo sa sensibilidad mo.
Yeah.
Kapag nag-aaral po kayo ng Nihongo, ng Korean, ng Hangul, at iba't ibang mga lengguwahe, kahit Spanish, yung mga language po na yun, mga wika po na yun, may mga standardized test, levels, at talagang sinusulong sa mga dayuhan. May mga programa ba tayo na parang ganun, na mga standardized na talagang tinuturo sa mga dayuhan? Kasi kahit tayo ata po may sarili silang standardized testing and teaching platform para lang sa wika nila. Is there any push galing sa KWF na talagang sinusulong ang pagturo ng wikang Filipino sa mga dayuhan or pati na rin sa mga hindi sanay sa Filipino?
Meron tayo niyan, Paolo. Kasama ang DepEd, ang Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pagsusulong ng mga pamantayang pang-edukasyon, lalo na sa pagbibigay ng ortografiya, ito yung spelling system. Sapagkat yan ang batayan para maisulat ng maayos. Pati ang gramatika at linguistika nito dapat ay maayos. Yan ang tungkulin ng komisyon. Ang magsagawa ng mga pamantayan, pagsulong, pagbalangkas ng mga ortografiya at mga panitikan na maaaring gamitin, gayon din ang mga gramatika. Wastong gramatika, wastong gamit ang mga salita. Yan ang mga pamantayan na binibigyan namin. Sa educational sector naman, meron yung mga programa sila para sa mga foreigner. merong special Filipino na ibinibigay. Ano, ito yung ginagamit yung Pilipino, ang media na ginagamit ay English teaching Filipino. Ano, teaching Filipino grammar. Ganyan ang ginagawa, basic Filipino grammar, ano, o basic survival Filipino ang tinuturo sa mga foreigners. So may mga pamantayan din tayo. Yan ang trabaho ng komisyon.
Meron akong question. I don't know if it's proper to ask, but kasi sometimes parents, kaya nila mas tinuturoang mag-English yung mga anak nila kaysa sa Filipino. Sinasabi nila kasi when you graduate, when you go enter the real world and look for a job, mas magiging advantageous for you if you are well-spoken in English compared to
actually,
Tagalog.
if I'm not mistaken po, yung term po na ginagamit doon is that kapag pumasok ka sa negosyo, yung lingua franca, English daw. Totoo po ba yan?
Yan ang sa tingin ko misnomer yan eh. Sa
And how
tingin
do we
ko,
break that?
sa tingin ko unang-una nasa Pilipinas tayo. Ano? So, meron din kasing halimbawa hindi ka marunong mag-Ingles, ano? Tapos ikaw in-interview ng human resource, ano? Tapos hindi ka bibigyan ng option na gamitin yung vernacular mong wika, ano? So magiging disadvantageous yun doon sa tao, hindi siya makakapasok ng trabaho. So yun ay isang malinaw na diskriminasyon, na discriminate siya sa sarili niyang bayan at sa sarili niyang wika, ano? At ginamit pa yung Ingles. Kaya ang hamon din sa mga multi-corporation na mga kumpanya, dapat ay meron din sila mga formularyo na magbubukas daan sa paggawa, sa labor, na pwedeng gamitin yung Filipino sa pag-i-interview ng HR, ano? Gayon din sa halimbawa sa gobyerno, ano? Meron sa civil service, dapat may ganoon ding formularyo na nagbubukas sa kanila gamit ang wikang Filipino sa isang interview, ano?
At sa palagay ko rin yung edukasyon importante din doon kasi minsan may mga tao na nag-a-apply na mahina talaga sila sa Filipino or minsan nawawalan sa ng oportunidad dahil hindi sila marunong mag-Filipino na maayos. And that leads me to yung question ko. Yung edukasyon ba natin, in general po, when it comes to sa pagturo ng wikang Filipino, sa palagay niyo po ba is not being implemented well enough or hindi lang talagang binibigyan any more importance sa matter na to?
Sir Paolo, ang masasabi ko dyan ay napakahuhusay ng mga guro natin sa Pilipino. Ngayong buwan ng Wikang Pambansa, amin silang itinatanghal sapagkat sa kanilang mga paaralan at universidad, may kanya-kanya sila mga malikhaing mga gawain para palakasin ang ating Wikang Filipino at pag-alala sa kahalagahan ng Wikang Pambansa. Sa tingin ko, ang nagiging hamon ng mga guro sa Pilipino ay ang pagkaraan nilang magturo sa kanilang silid-aralan ay naka-expose sila sa iba't ibang mga media, ano? At doon na lamang sa silid-aralan lamang nila na paghuhusay yung paggamit ng Pilipino.
Meron tayong viewer sa YouTube na nagpadala ng message, si Ramon's Rising Star. Sabi niya, dapat kasi sa grade school pa lang, intense na yung program sa Tagalog o Pilipino. Then sa higher grade level, English or other language could be introduced. Ang problema sa atin, pwedeng Taglish sa classrooms, pero most of our textbooks are in English. So yun ang sabi ng ating
Actually,
viewer on YouTube.
speaking of school, gusto ko lang balikan yung quote allegedly, quote ni Jose Rizal. Sabi niya po, ang hindi marunong magmahal sa sariling wika ay mas masahol pa sa malansang isda. Now, sinabi daw po yan ni Gat Jose Rizal, and I just want to know, was he the one who actually said it, Sir Ben?
Walang kumpirmasyon
Ayun.
sa kasaysayan. Okay? Sapagkat si Jose Rizal ay talagang isang biyasa sa pag-Espanyol. At lumabas na lamang ang mga katagang ito noong siya'y nawala na. At sa palagi ko, sa isang yugto ng panahon ay sa isang kaisipan niya, yan ang gusto niya sabihin din. Sapagkat sa kanyang mga sinulat naman, makikita natin na Espanyol pa rin ang kanyang ginamit na medium. Ano? Ang Noli at El Fili, naka-Filipino, ang kanyang obra maestra ay naka-Espanyol. Ano? At ang mga nagsalin nito ay halimbawa sila Bonifacio, ang mga Tagalog. Ano?
At isa lang yung libro niya na Filipino at hindi pa natapos, yung Makamisa, which I believe is only 1 or 2 chapters.
Tama po yan. At Sir Paolo, balikan ko lang yung sinabi ni Ma'am Ann kanina na doon sa mga paaralan, importante na makadevelop makadevelop na mga sangguniang aklat na ginagamit sa Pilipino para lalong maraming makita, babasahin ang mga mag-aaral. At ang hamon kasi sa tanong ng ating viewer kanina, nag-comment siya, ay totoo po yan. Meron tayong mother tongue-based multilingual education. Ito ay mula grades 1 to 3, kailangan bihasa yung mag-aaral sa kanyang unang wika. Kung Ilocano, Waray, Hiligaynon, Bicol yan, Pangasinan, yun ang unang mong ituturo from grades 1 to 3 upang kumintal, tumimo sa kanya mismo. May ingrain sa kanya mismo yung unang wika niya. Pagkaraan ng grade 3, grade 4, tutungtong siya sa L2, which is Filipino. Tapos pagkaraan niyan ay English na. Ganyan pinatatatag ang wikang katutubo at wikang pambansa natin. Yan ang sistema ng ating language education sa Pilipinas. Ganyan kahusay. Kaya kung titingnan nyo sa language acquisition, importante talaga yung unang wika eh. Kailangan matatag yun eh. Kapag matatag yun, madaling kumuha ng iba pang mga wika, yung structure nun, madaling makakuha.
Kaya pala may mother tongue.
Oo. And importante din yun. It also, yung nagiging factor din kung sino yung mga kasama mo sa bahay, kung sino kasama mo sa araw-araw, yung mga kaibigan mo. Naalala ko, ako, yung pinakaunang wika ko, Bicolano eh. And then, tapos, pero hindi ako taga-Bicol. Taga-Ilocos po ako. Yung pamilya ko. And at the same time, nung dumating ako sa grades 1, 2, 3, and onwards, medyo talagang nasulong na yung English eh. Kasi karamihan sa mga kasama ko, nag-i-English. So, yes, I absolutely agree with that. Sir, kapag pinag-uusapan natin, before we start wrapping things up, kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung pagka-bilingual ng mga Pinoy, in fact, minsan 3, 4 yung mga dialect.
Multilingual tayo.
May kasabihan na naalala ko na malambot ang dila ng mga Pinoy. Kasi kaya natin na matuto ng iba't ibang lengguwahe, pati rin yung mga accent ng iba na natuto natin eh. Ano masasabi mo sa husay ng mga Pilipino na maging bilingual, na maintindihan ng ang isa't isa, especially na 135 dialects, tama po ba? Wika. Ang meron tayo dito sa Pilipinas.
Napakaganda kasi na tayong mga Pilipino ay nagkaroon ng mahabang kasaysayan sa pagtangkilik ng iba't ibang mga wika sa Pilipinas at mga banyagang wika sa Pilipinas at naging bihasa tayo rito. Kanina nakikinig ako sa inyong dalawa, pareho kayong magaling na magsalita ng English at ng Filipino. At kung titingnan ninyo, ang madulas, mas mahusay pa sa Amerikano kayo magsalita sa English. Ganon tayo magaling mag-adapt. Yan ay isang talino na kakaiba. Kaya yung diversidad ng mga wika sa Pilipinas ay nakatulong sa atin para madaling maka-adapt ng iba't ibang mga wika sa ibang banyagang wika sa Pilipinas, sa buong mundo. Kaya globally tayo ang unang hinahanap eh. Basta pinag-usapan ay wika. Di ba?
Sir Ben, maraming salamat. We really appreciate yung time nyo dito. But of course, before we let you go, may last question po kami dito.
Yes. So, lagi namin itong tinatanong sa aming mga guests. The show is called Beautiful Day. Ano ang nagpapaganda sa araw mo, Sir Ben?
Ang nagpapaganda sa araw ko ay tayo mga Pilipino na gumagamit ng ating wikang pambansa. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Sir Ben. Mabuhay rin po kayo.
Benjamin Mendillo, Commissioner ng Komisyon sa Wikang Filipino. Salamat, sir, for joining us today.
Mabuhay po kayo. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, so balik English muna because English po yung prompter ko ngayon. So, after the break, I'll talk to renowned architect and urban planner Felino June Palafox Jr. about why Metro Manila continues to drown in floods year after year. You don't want to miss this conversation. Don't go away. Beautiful day. We'll be right back.
And welcome back. You're still watching Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. Now, a low-pressure area in extreme northern Luzon has now become a tropical cyclone. Let's take a look at that because as of 3 a.m. today, Tropical Depression Juaning was located 520 kilometers east-northeast of Itbayat, Batanes, and has maximum winds of up to 45 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 55 kilometers per hour, moving north-northwest at 10 kilometers per hour. Now, Juaning is expected to move generally northward until tonight, then shift to a north-northeast direction tomorrow morning towards Ryukyu Islands in Japan. Now, it may exit the Philippine area of responsibility late tonight or early tomorrow. Now, the good news is that it's expected to stay a tropical depression and will not affect the country directly in the next few days. Now, aside from Tropical Depression Juaning, there's another tropical depression located outside the Philippine area of responsibility. Now, it's far from the country, but its trough or its extended cloud band is bringing cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in parts of northern Luzon, central Luzon, including the Ilocos region, Zambales, and Bataan. Meanwhile, the southwest monsoon has weakened and is now just affecting the western side of southern Luzon. Now, over in Palawan, you can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms. Now, this will all be due to the southwest monsoon. Now, for Metro Manila, as we go back up north and the rest of the country, generally fair weather conditions are expected with chances of isolated rain showers due to localized thunderstorms. Now, as for sea conditions, no gale warnings in effect as of now. Moderate seas with up to wave heights of up to 2.1 meters are expected along the western section of Luzon. For the rest of the country, light to moderate seas with waves ranging from 1.2 to 1.8 meters may be experienced. Reminder to all of our marine travelers and fisherfolk, while conditions are generally safe, stay alert for sudden changes in weather and sea state, especially in areas affected by rain showers or thunderstorms. Now, check local updates before heading out to sea to ensure your safety. Now, moving on, Metro Manila goes underwater year after year, with climate change often taking the blame. But for renowned architect and urban planner Felino Jun Palafox Jr., floods are largely man-made, a result of decades of government inaction and unfinished projects. Today, he joins us via Zoom to talk about the root causes of the flooding crisis, the plans that have been ignored for over 50 years, and his call to build the solutions our city needs. Magandang umaga, Architect Jun. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beautiful Day. Now, Architect, I want to start off first with one of the statements that I believe really left a mark po. Climate change is just an excuse for Metro Manila floods. Now, I just want to get a bit more of explanation on that. And of course, ano po ba ang totoong root ng problema dito sa Metro Manila?
Yeah, I think mainly, the past 50 years, there were so many plans now to address hazards before they become disasters. And paulit-ulit na talaga, since mid-70s, I was team leader for the World Bank-funded Metro Plan Manila. And UNDP-funded Manila Bay Region Strategic Plan. Nung Ondoy, I gave 6 recommendations to President Gloria. And most of them came from the mid-70s recommendations. Hindi pa rin nagagawa. And explain ko, if I remember the figures right. Kasi hindi drainage yung Laguna Lake and the Parañaque Spillway. Out of the 150 recommendations, dalawa lang yun. Kasi what happened in Ondoy, 4,600 cubic meters per second bumagsak from Kinalbong Kabundukan. Bumagsak 4,600 cubic meters. Capacity then ng Pasig River was 600 cubic meters per second. Saan napunta yung 4,000 cubic meters per second? Binaha 90,000 hectares of urban land. Marikina Valley, the lake shores of Laguna Lake, and low-lying areas of Metro Manila. You know what's the 90,000 hectares of urban land? Malaki pa sa Singapore. Singapore is only 73,000 hectares. And by the way, Singapore receives more rainfall than Metro Manila. Kaya lang, yung mga plano nila na implement to big infrastructure to address flooding and dredging the rivers, the lakes, and Laguna Lake. There was a contract to dredge Laguna Lake. Inapprove ni President Gloria. Kinansel ng succeeding administrations. Nagbigay ako ng 10-year program, September 2009, after Ondoy. And kung ayaw nila yung Parañaque Spillway, dahil open canal yan, pre-propose ko smart tunnel, parang Kuala Lumpur. Yung smart tunnel drain over excess water from Laguna Lake going to Manila Bay. Yung first level can be a tollway, second level can be tollway, the lowest can be a spillway. Or during big floods, the whole tunnel can be a spillway. And in Kuala Lumpur, ginawa nila yan in 6 years. So 2009, dapat tapos na by 2015. Walang continuity eh. And flood control and drainage is just one of the infrastructure. Dapat gawin natin very comprehensive urban planning, regional planning, metropolitan planning. And within that, you have the demographics, especially increase ng population, land use, housing, transportation, different kinds of infrastructure like water supply, power supply, drainage, and flood control, sewerage, solid waste management, telecommunications, other infrastructure. There are about 20 kinds of infrastructure and 30 modes of urban transport. Then social infrastructure like schools and hospitals. Then parks and open spaces. These are the lungs of the city and they can also be evacuation areas. Ang haba po ng I don't think shorten na itong session natin. Give us your email na lang, padala ko na lang yan sa inyo yung 150 recommendations na pinadala ko sa Presidente.
Sir Jun, you mentioned 150 recommendations. A lot of them have gathered dust since 1970s. I know that maraming nagsasabi na it wouldn't have been possible to implement all 150. Pero sa palagay niyo po, which of those projects would have made the biggest difference today had it been implemented?
Kasama ho dyan yung addressing earthquake. Kasi there are 18 kinds of hazards and disasters. In fact, I wrote a book, The Philippines Toward Resilient Cities Communities. The thesis here is, and I got the Best Author Award, by the way.
Congratulations, sir.
90% less expensive to address the hazards before they become disasters, aside from saving human lives, buildings, properties, infrastructure, and agriculture. And nandyan po lahat yan. O, nandyan po mga plano, i-update na lang. Of course, yung climate change is also a factor. And pati yun ma-address na. Like, I was just in Boston, they elevated their streets and promenades for pedestrians 8 to 10 meters high, anticipating na yung climate change, sea level rise. In our country, especially Metro Manila, double whammy yan. Kasi sea level rise and land subsidence. Bumaba yung lupa dahil overpumping of deep wells. If you look at the topography of Metro Manila, maybe 1 or 2 meters from along Manila Bay, it goes up to about 30 meters high sa Ayala Heights, Loyola Heights, then it dropped to the floor of Marikina Valley, about 6 kilometers wide. Then it Dipole Mountains, Sierra Madre Mountains. Bandang south, again, then it goes up to Ayala Labang, Ayala Heights, Ayala Labang, both of our projects. And then it goes down to the lakeshore of Laguna Lake. Tignan lang yung topography, hindi lang dapat engineering solutions. There's also adaptive architecture, I call it.
Okay.
Kasi we had a Dutch architect working with us. Sabi niya sa Netherlands daw, pag nangyaring undoy, mga bahang-bahang villages, pag sa Netherlands daw, i-relocate yung buong village. But I told him, in our part of the world, private property is sacrosanct. So I said that time, elevate or relocate. And we should also be adaptive architecture na. Kasi matagal hindi gagawin ka agad ng public works. Kasi binaha yung bahay mo. Markahan mo na lang yung flood line, maybe yung ground floor, hayaan mo na mabaha. I-separate lang yung electrical system. Parang ancestral homes namin. Yung silong, I think our ancestor, alam nila, pag 100-year flooding, let the silong get flooded. And undersized din ang drainage system natin, flood control system.
Yeah.
25% undersized. Kasi 25-year return lang. The 100-year typhoons are now happening every other year. So pati yung size ng natin na silted na, undersized pa. And matagal na natin sinasabi yan. Kaya itong, kung drainage yung Laguna Lake, ginawa yung Iparaca Spillway, it drains lahat ng rivers, esteros, lakes, and waterways. Hindi dapat nangyayari ito.
Sir Jun, I want to focus now on yung proseso po for these particular projects, especially in the national government. Kasi na-mention niyo po kanina, that you had projects approved with the administration of former President Arroyo pero hindi po natuloy ng succeeding administrations. Is that the biggest challenge when it comes to flood control projects na kailangan multi-administration po yung effort from the national government to make it happen?
Walang institutional memory ang government. Kaya thanks to Asian Development Bank and NEDA, I was invited to help in the preparation of Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028. My assignment was seamless connectivity, transportation, and infrastructure. And I shared there, elsewhere in the world, there are 30 kinds of urban transport. We have less than 10. There are 20 kinds of infrastructure. We have less than 10. There are 18 kinds of tourism. We have less than 10. Kaya we can borrow the best practices in the world and as much practicable implement them here. About 15 years ago, I think I was invited to a speaker, resource person, in the remaking of Mumbai. And our at that time demolished 30,000 building infrastructure vulnerable to disasters. Ginawa nila and replaced them with tall buildings with more open spaces. And nagawa nila, I think India and the Philippines pareho yung our kind of democracy. But they seem to have stronger political will with visionary leadership, good appreciation of good urban planning, good design like architecture, engineering, and excellent management. Kaya ngayon, maski hindi nababasa ang pinapalala ko sa presidente, I keep sending recommendations. And in fact, we'll be publishing a book now. We'll call it Postcards from the Future. Sana mga rekomendasyon namin, some leaders in the future will implement them. We take pictures of the uglification of our cities and create architectural perspectives, how they should look like. So I call them postcards in the future. Let's hope and pray somebody in the future will implement them.
Yes, Sir June. Hopefully that does happen. But at the same time, we have to focus on what's happening at the moment. Ngayon, we are seeing more and more focus being brought to yung mga flood control projects, yung mga budget po nila, yung mga ghost projects. And there's a renewed hope that some of these projects will now actually be implemented well, properly, and of course with more transparency. Should that actually happen, ano sa palagay niyo po ang top 3 or top priorities dapat ng pamahalaan?
The way we plan at Palafox, immediate action program, short-term, medium-term, long-term, and visionary. Nag-comment nga ako, bakit ang planning natin sa Pilipinas, electoral calendar, 3 years and 6 years. Kaya ginagawa na namin sa Palafox, Philippines 2050, well into 2100, a first world country, a first world economy. And the way we plan from ridge to reef, from the top of the mountain, the highlands, the midlands, the lowlands, and the coastline, because flooding and water doesn't respect political boundaries. In metropolitan Japan region, they have from the top of the mountain, highlands, midlands, lowlands, they have a series of small dams to collect the water. And also Singapore and elsewhere in the world, they have big infrastructure to harvest rainwater. And that can be done. The planning should be short-term, mid-term, long-term, visionary. It should also be interdisciplinary. It's not purely engineering. We should involve urban planners, architects, engineers, other scientists. That can be done. And it's also be comprehensive in terms of time, area coverage, and so on. And it's also adaptive architecture, green architecture. Let's start reforesting the mountains na denuded na. And firstly that you ask, maybe you sinuggest ko rin immediately after Ondoy, kay President Gloria, dredge Laguna Lake, deepen it, and do the spillway. And nag-volunteer nga si Mr. Ramon Ang, thanks to him, he's willing to dredge rivers. I think San Miguel Corporation spent 2 billion pesos sa dredging of Pasig River and 1 billion pesos for Tulyahan River. And na-quantify nila yung metrics, how many tons of garbage na collect nila. Bakit yung mga flood control projects natin, wala tayong nakikita na metrics? Ilan tons ng garbage na collect nila and so on. Isa pa, waste to energy. Nag-appear na ako sa Congress niyan. Alam niyo yung plastic waste, it takes 600 years to decompose plastic in our country. In Singapore, only 24 hours because they have the waste to energy, and that even creates power, energy, and also use the byproduct paving blocks for their sidewalks and for their wood material for their reclamation in Singapore.
Sir Palafox, alam mo, gusto ko sana isulong na 1 hour po yung usapan natin dapat dahil it's just too short a time to talk about yung flooding situation dito sa Metro Manila. But before we let you go, ano pong mensahe mo sa ating mga leader at siyempre mga kababayan that are struggling and trying to find ways to solve yung flooding problems natin dito sa Metro Manila?
I think we should thank President Marcos dahil may awakening na yung alam na natin yung mahiya naman kayo, mahina naman tayo, and so on. Kasi hindi kaya ng yung sinabi ko na just like our boss in Dubai, with strong political will, visionary leadership, good appreciation, good urban planning, good design like architecture, engineering, excellent management. It should not just be applied to the president, from the barangay captain, the mayor, the governors, the legislators, and so on. And we should be more vigilant. Corruption, alam na ni Mayor Magalong ng Baguio, na quantify na niya, pati si Senator Ping Lacson, alam na nila. And I think may pag-asa pa as long as our country has so many blessings. Ang haba ng blessings, haba ng opportunity. We only have to address corruption towards good governance, criminality, better pacing order, climate change, protecting and enhancing the environment, inequality, address poverty, job creation, poverty alleviation, infrastructure, build better, more, and investments. Without foreign investment, we may not make it to the first world. And number 7, incompetence. Sometimes incompetence is worse than corruption. And I still feel we can be a first world economy, first world country before 2050. But we really have to address our challenges, our problems. We know the problems, we know the solutions. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share.
Architect, we really appreciate your time and sharing your insights on the Metro Manila flooding crisis. Hopefully, we have 1 hour next time around because this was way too short. Maraming salamat po, Attorney. Architect, rather. All right, so that's it for Weather HQ at the moment. And back to you.
Thank you, Pao. Now it's time for us to find out what the stars have in store for us today. Let's hear it from our resident energizer and feng shui master, Hans Kua, in our horoscope of the day. Take it away, Master Hans.
Good morning! Beautiful day with me, Bilyonaryo Master Hans Kua. Ito po ang horoscope ng araw ng Monday, August 18. Simulan natin sa mga pinanganak ng Year of the Rat. Keep calm, iwas, mainit na diskusyon. Yellow at 2. Kaya oksaman tayo, iwasan makipag-reconnect. Sa ex, maaaring may spiritual backlash yan. 10 at 7. Kay Tiger naman tayo maghanda ng protection pouch na may asin, bigas at coin. Green at 5. Rabbit naman tayo, tapusin ang mga naiwan. Huwag hayaang sumama sa Hungry Ghost Month. Pink at 3. Kay Dragon naman, kung tahimik na siya, huwag mo nang pilitin. Hindi lahat ng katahimikan ay may dalang kaginhawaan. Red at 6. Kay Snake naman tayo, ayusin ang schedule. Huwag basta oo na oo ha. Violet at 4. Ito naman, Care of the Horsey, kumain ng prutas, iwas constipation, at ma-enhance ang good energy. Silver at 9. Kay Year of the Sheep naman tayo, magpahinga. Ang katahimikan ay gamot din ha. White at 8. Kay Monkey naman tayo, focus lang sa trabaho, huwag sumali sa problema ng iba. Mind your own business. Blue at 1. Kay Rooster naman tayo, huwag mangutang. Ghost month is not a time to open mga debts na karma. Cream at 5. Kay Dog naman tayo ngayong buwan, love from afar muna. Pagmasdan mo kung totoo o usok lang yan. Green at 6. Kay Year of the Pig naman tayo, ang mahal kita ay hindi sapat kung walang aksyon, lalo na sa panahon ng Hungry Ghost Month. Gold at 3. Paalala lang, ito pa'y patnubay lamang. Ang tunay na swerte ay nagsisimula sa pagiging totoo. Abangan araw-araw ang horoscope of day dito lang po sa Beautiful Day with me, Master Hans Kua.
Thank you as always, Master Hans Kua. What's next, pal?
Now, well, our next guest's entire career is a love letter to Filipino cuisine. Show up. Now, advocate Raine Cabral made it her lifelong mission to acquaint Filipino flavors to the foreign palate. And even after 2 decades of promoting Filipino food, she says there's still a lot more work to do. That conversation after the break. Beautiful day. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Beautiful Day. Now, our next guest is a force in the food scene. She was recently awarded by DTI with the 2025 Food Philippines Advocates Par Excellence. Now, after 2 decades of championing Filipino cuisine on the global stage, she joins us once again to talk about the future of promoting Filipino flavors to the world. Writer and community advocate Raine Cabral in What's Cooking. It's our most delicious segment, A Beautiful Day. Raine Cabral, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Anne and Pao. And I miss Monique, actually.
Oh, we don't miss her. No, it's okay.
No. But yeah. Monique saying hi to you guys. But no, thank you so much for having me back, actually.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, it's always great. Now, first of all, congratulations on
Thank
being
you.
being awarded by DTI for the 2025 Food Philippines Advocate Par Excellence. So let's talk a bit more about that. You know,
Yeah.
when you were found out you were going to win it, it feels like it's a vindication for all the work that you've done for the
Yeah.
past few decades.
Yeah, actually, great point. It's DTI, actually, their export arm is called SITEM. So that's our, essentially, lahat ng quality products for food and manufacturing, design. So they're the ones who actually host IFEX and Manila Fame. So SITEM, when SITEM reached out and basically expressed their interest in the work that I've been doing for decades, I actually felt seen. Alam mo yan, and I didn't expect that level of, I guess, validation in a way, external validation, because the work continues. I've been in community media and really supporting Filipinos in Australia, and I love telling Filipino stories of positivity and hope. So ganun talaga yung parang mindset ko the entire time. So it's a great honor, but essentially, and I always say this, with or without the work, when you love what you do, you'll do it regardless. So masaya lang, parang cherry on top siya for sure.
So congratulations,
Thank you.
well-deserved award, for highlighting Filipino cuisine and bringing it to the global stage. Now, you mentioned DTI. You're working with DTI.
Yeah,
correct?
with
Yes.
SITEM. So as I mentioned, they're the exporting arm. This is, for me, parang, and this is, as I've said, this is a personal opinion, but more of a mission, really. Kasi Filipinos, we're so fond of patronizing or importing quality products from overseas, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because if people love it, there's a demand for it, businesses need to grow. But my point is, why are we not focusing on export quality products that can really raise our profile in the world? Because our wonderful resource, the main thing that we really have is our people. So essentially, from, I guess, the time when Manuel L. Quezon said that, they really want, Filipinos run by Filipinos, going back to history. And we coined the term Bagong Bayani, wherein it's our OFWs who really keep our economy afloat with remittances and things like that. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but why don't we develop our local manufacturers so that we can then give back to our farmers and create a very robust supply chain.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that now, especially with this food scene that we have, is we have an army of Filipino chefs around the world really focusing on our roots. So, nagluluto na yung mga Pilipino, second generation migrants ng Filipino food equated with localized flavors in that country.
Yeah. Sinasabi nga nila that yung pagkain is a bridge back to home.
Yes,
right?
correct.
And when we talk about food worldwide, there is a project that you're working on, if I'm not mistaken, itong Master Plan Global.
Yes.
Now, it plans to bridge Filipino food to Australia, which you feel is one of the countries most appreciative of Filipino
Right
food.
now kasi syempre, I now consider Australia my second home. Philippines will always be, we are all Filipinos regardless of where we are. But Australia has, especially Melbourne, the food scene is
Ano ba
insane.
yung accent? Sorry.
Melbourne.
Biglang naging yes.
Code switch is
Okay,
real,
okay.
guys. Code switch.
Yes,
Talk
yes.
to me. It's really fun. But no, I really made it a conscious effort. I'm only here for 3 days. And I said, you know what? Up until I was 20, I'm a small town girl from Naga. So my Tagalog talaga is not that great. Pero it's it's who I am. And then because I spent 20 years na in Melbourne, and if you talk to me, my husband talks to me, my kids talk to me, it's different eh. Like you code switch. But yes,
Yeah,
ganon.
my favorite part of talking to Australians or people with Australian accents is asking them to say the word 14.
14?
14
Why? How
in
do
Australia.
they say it?
14.
Foreign.
There you go. So, iba eh. Sorry, ibang-iba.
Wow, come to Melbourne.
No.
We'll bring the
gosh.
show. We'll
I'm
bring
gonna
the show
have a
to
hard
Melbourne.
time.
We're gonna have a hard time
No,
with that.
it's-
Okay,
it's
wait.
weird, yes.
Balik muna tayo. Focus muna tayo sa
Okay,
pagkain.
pagkain,
Focus muna tayo sa
game.
pagkain. Okay, first of all, you're exporting. And
Yes.
with DTI's help, you're helping export Filipino
Yeah.
goods. How difficult is that considering yung global climate natin, ibang-iba. You
Yeah.
have Trump's tariffs, you have all of the movement being really monitored worldwide. It feels like the rates shipping internationally just change almost on a weekly basis. Kaya is this a big challenge for you?
I think it is a bigger challenge, but I think Master Plan's role is really connecting producers with markets overseas. And I have really great partners and distributors who've been doing, the work. So I think the value add or the competitive advantage that we have is there's a real focus now on, because you mentioned a really great point there, Pao, that there is a huge focus now on the Australian market or the Oceania market because of the little bit of uncertainty when it comes to the US market now because of the ever-changing numbers there. The way that I see it though is work with experts, work with partners who do know what they're doing. And I guess the competitive advantage that we can put in is we can really link direct through SITEM direct to the manufacturers. And then you can then adjust prices accordingly and see where margins are there. Because sometimes it's really just presence. You start with presence and you build demand through that. And the way to do that is to always localize Filipino flavors. Rather than, because I was thinking about this pretty much when we were doing IFEX na sometimes, when we do our campaigns and our tourism campaigns, people would have to spend their airfare, their accommodation, tour guide to go to the Philippines. And there's nothing wrong with that. But Pao, you made a really good point na what if for those who don't have, that disposable income to travel? So why don't we bring the Philippines to them one plate at a time? And then you can start that journey and create that ecosystem.
Anne, I think you'd like this next one because minsan sinasabi natin, when you talk about certain Asian food, let's say Korean or even Vietnamese, it's so healthy.
Yes.
But the storytelling aspect, I feel, and especially
Food always tells
yung
a story.
description, yung
right?
description ng Filipino
Yes,
food has
every
not
cuisine tells a story.
It hasn't necessarily been healthy, diba? Kapag pinag-uusapan natin Filipino food.
What's the story, Raine, that could be told about Filipino food to capture certain markets?
I think one of the things that Australia is really good at is provenance of certain products. So parang, sorry.
I just love listening to you. I'm just gonna sit here and listen to you talk. I love the accent.
So, we have this place like Tamar Valley region or places like that. So if we've done a really good thing like Guimaras mangoes. So do you know that Guimaras mangoes, no one can call any other mango similar to champagne. That, you know, when you make that certain product, ganun siya. So we need to establish yung parang farm-to-table provenance of our food. So then, when people go back into it, they'd know na, okay, these mangoes are from Guimaras. So you go back to the local suppliers. So I think that's one of the things that we can parang create that story in a way for people.
Since you started Master Plan Global, what have been yung proudest milestones mo so far?
I think the proudest milestones is really getting the support of the chefs to localize Filipino flavors. So there's a few things, and one of the really great mentors, and I always say this, great mentors that I have are Wars C and Chef Jack and Chef Laudico, kasi they're like, for me, they've been the pillars of Filipino cuisine. He's been doing it for close to like 20 years talaga. And I'm just really grateful that there are opportunities for us to work together. Kasi for me, it's all about learning and growing. And even today, nga guys, if you're free, come to Guevara's, because Chef Jack and Lau are hosting Chef Dabo of Naima's Cafe in Dubai. So we actually have an event today with them as well. So ganon. So it's Filipino food is global. Filipino food doesn't need to be elevated. Filipino food just needs to be served to the right people with the right story. And kailangan masarap lang siya. Yun.
Actually, gusto ko yun eh. It doesn't need to be elevated. Kasi minsan, sinasabi ng mga ibang tao, kailangan natin i-elevate para i-suit sa foreign palate. Is that something you disagree with?
I disagree with that, and I am quoting Chef Lau here heavily. As long as you stay true to the flavor profile of the food, you can call it Filipino. So Adobro's Chef Morris has done that really well, that he made like a nudie tinola, which is like, it's tinola flavor, but it's this from this region in Italy na wala siyang pasta in itself, like it's a naked pasta. So he's done things like that. So I feel that it's a polarizing opinion siguro, Pao. Pero I think that Filipino food in itself is great. It's how you explain and educate the people around you. Because when we do our supper clubs, our market is multicultural. And you know, when we did adobo chocolate dessert, adobo as a dessert, I should say, that also, you know, people would understand that better, and take away your misconceptions about food. Yun lang yun. Don't come in with an open mind all the time. Para ganon, like in life, no expectations, just open up your heart and then it will rate.
So a while ago, you told us that Australia is one of the countries that really appreciate Filipino food. So from what you've observed, do these foreigners appreciate the simpler version of our food more than the fusion or elevated version of the Filipino dishes?
Or more complex.
More complex. Well, Melbourne is, ang masaya sa Melbourne kasi is madaming, like you can get Filipino food at any price point. There is like Inasal Express that does like their you know, parang to go casual dining. There's Sarai, who Gordon Ramsay, like Ross Magnaye, who was recently here for International Food Festival. And then there's also essentially Askal and Palay. So I feel that it's more of, in today's economy, one price point. That is a factor, as much as we want to say it or not, with interest rates and mortgages really going up. So it's price point and relatability of the food. So in a way, parang there's still home-style cooking, but then there's also what you mentioned there, Pao, na mas complex flavors in a way. So it's more on, you choose your audience and your market. And what's great about Melbourne is it's welcoming you at any price point.
You know, we're running out of time,
Yeah.
but before we throw our last question,
Yes.
what are your plans for Master Plan Global? What's next on the horizon for you?
I think we're just continuing. We're fully booked. We're talking 2026 now.
Wow, sarap maging busy.
Wow, sarap.
And I just feel so blessed that there's so much support. I feel that when you go out on your own, you get people who would know you one way. Tapos when you're evolving, some people wanna clip your wings and don't understand, and there's other people who just say fly girl, and I'm just really I feel so supported that there are people to say na you can transform, because in helping others you transform lives, and the journey always continues. So we're all evolving, we're all growing, and life isn't a competition. And that's what I like actually about you guys, na chill lang, relax, masaya lang. Life's too short for drama.
We're just really chill on this show.
Sobrang chill, minsan nga nalilate.
Ay,
But of course,
we're not talking about that now. Ano yan? Nilaglag.
all right, so before we let you go,
Yes, Raine, the
Yes.
show is called Beautiful Day. What makes your day beautiful?
I think it's my faith and my family. I wouldn't be here today if not for them. And my story is a typical migrant story of just really never giving up and approaching life with a grateful heart. So maraming salamat sa inyo guys. Really.
Raine, really appreciate you. That was beautiful, and of course, we cannot wait to go to Melbourne. Actually, we're now
Melbourne.
gunning for to do our first international live show.
Yes.
Sa
Guys,
Melbourne.
Beautiful day in
Diba?
Melbourne.
I have a
Yeah.
studio na for you.
Guys,
Oh my
My
God.
studio
Let's
na.
do
Make it
this.
happen.
Let's make this
Guys,
happen.
Oh my
literally,
gosh.
it's at the
Yeah.
Ritz-Carlton precinct.
So Ritz-Carlton pa.
Guys, note this. It's
Oo.
happening. We're gonna talk offline. Producers.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
okay,
We gotta
okay.
make this happen. We gotta manifest
I'm
it
checking
now.
what time it's in Melbourne. Oh, it's not bad a time. It will
No,
only be like
walang jet lag.
the show is 9 a.m. in Melbourne. So
yeah.
yes, kaya to. Okay.
Kaya to.
Okay.
Sinong sasama? Sir, yes.
Ayan,
Okay.
si Derek sasama din.
Direct Gary,
Oo.
everyone, our whole team, we
Yeah.
gotta get our papers
No.
ready.
Pumili lang tayo na hindi pupunta.
Yung ganon.
Oo.
Hindi, pero honest guys, come in March. It's Melbourne Food and Wine next year. So it would be great. And I really, ganon, you're more than welcome.
Thank you so much. I mean, we have to go now.
Yes.
Unfortunately, na-excite po kami.
Oo,
We're getting our visas
sorry
ready
naman.
now. Thank you so much for your time. Again, Filipino food advocate, Raine Cabral.
Thank you guys. Raine Cabral, at maraming salamat sa inyo guys. Salamat.
All right, so that's a wrap on our show for today, Monday, August 18. Thank you so much for joining us and keeping Ann company at the very beginning. I'm Paolo de Rosario. Remember, keep it cool and take it easy.
And I'm Ann Asis-Carilo. Have a great day ahead, and always remember to choose joy, spread kindness, and pack your own sunshine wherever you go. See you again tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. only here on
Beautiful Day.